We took off. I think we probably took off enough by now.
Oh, yeah. You do look tired, though. It's probably those antibiotics.
It absolutely is.
Yeah.
Antibiotics for what ails you, even though I didn't know I was ailing.
You woulda.
Oh, yeah, eventually. It would have happened on a Saturday.
It would have happened on a Saturday or Sunday, yeah.
Or Friday night.
Or 4th of July, or, yeah, some shit like that.
4th of July. Wow.
And then the recovery time would have been substantial because,
Yes.
you're
Yep.
aged.
Yeah, aged.
Yeah, aged.
I'm aged.
Okay, so you better lighten up. We're having our date. It's been a month.
Yeah.
We haven't had our real date time in a month. So it's been serious shit.
Yeah, well, not all of it. We did vacation.
Yeah, but that wasn't our date time. That was our grandkids and us.
Grandkids'
Yeah,
date
that
time.
was a whole. We were different people then.
Yeah, that's true.
We weren't just Glenn and Deb people.
Yeah.
All right, you're gonna push the button. Me. Mimi and Papa.
Tip of the teeth. Top of the tongue.
Tip of the teeth, top of the tongue. Golden titties.
What?
The movie last night. Everybody was sucking on his golden titties.
Oh, that's what he said. Yeah, that was great. That's a good line.
Immediately he puts his hands up on his chest like, oh, my titties are golden.
Yeah, I know, like he was proud.
Oh, he was so proud of it. He wasn't even upset.
No, it seems like they kind of had a handle on Musk.
Yeah, I think they did.
So I'm glad I didn't fall asleep.
No, we made it. All for the golden titties. Push the button.
Greetings. This is the Long in the Boot podcast, the podcast coming to you from the heel of the boot of Southwest Louisiana. I am your host, G Long, and sitting across the way from me, as always, is Deb.
Hello, all.
Hey, how you doing?
I'm doing well.
Oh, man.
Yeah, got that smile out of you.
Been a minute.
It has been a minute. It's been about, 3-4 weeks.
Something like that.
We took a hiatus.
We did. We took
hiatus.
a hiatus.
Not a hyanus.
No.
No, that's a whole different thing.
It's probably good to have a high anus, though.
I mean, people work for that, yeah.
Like off the ground.
Oh, well, yeah, you drag an ass.
Yeah.
Otherwise.
Well, no, then you're like a dog.
If you drag an ass, yeah, that's literal. I was figuratively dragging ass.
No, I was being literal.
I was afraid you were dragging ass this morning.
A little bit
before we started, so I had to make light of something to make you smile, and now I got it. So our date can begin.
Yeah, and we got the work done,
and we got the physical labor done. We have not been dragging ass.
No,
we have been accomplishing. I got my list going, and we're
sure do.
Making our list, and I'm scratching shit off.
She sure does. She has her list.
Did you notice today I went and put a D or a G or a D and G next to each task, because that way you know what's solely yours and then what is a group project task.
I'll be busy putting IDGAF next to some of them.
Oh, you're not putting anything on my list. You're going to just accomplish, and then we're going to scratch off. You don't get into the scratch off part.
IDGAF.
That is my favorite. Like, I write it down, and then when it's accomplished, I cross it off.
Yeah, okay.
Okay, so that we needed some time. We
did.
We took the grandkids. We did that. We talked about that.
If you'd like to chastise us for not being here for a few weeks, you can do that. You can send an email to belongingtheboot@gmail.com. The other thing you can do is call it, here we go, 337-502-9011. Hey, I got it right.
You did it. That's because I didn't make eye contact. I looked away. I didn't look at you, because sometimes if I look at you and I smile and you then you forget.
Yeah,
because you're like,
because I could write it down, but you
never have.
Where's the fun in
you never have? That's amazing.
I know. It's my personal Alzheimer's test.
I did do something today because I saw the button at the podcast Buzzsprout page, and it said that when you post it you can put a button and people can text you on it, or
I think so at that website.
Okay, well, I did that.
Oh,
and I think it's going to show up before the description, or no, I changed that.
You better not have fouled up.
I pushed the other button and I made it go.
Now you're going to make me go look,
end of
see
description.
if you fouled up the.
Oh, it'll be a surprise.
Well, if you don't want to mess with that, you can also just go to www.longintheboot.com.
Well, but if they're already there and they're streaming, it's right there. It's a click. People,
yes.
we are lazy people. We don't want to have to go.
We're on the Facebook,
hard.
But none of the other things.
Yeah, I don't do it.
Well, actually, YouTube is putting up our podcast.
YouTube is,
but they're just still. I mean, there's no video.
No, there's no video because
who wants to see me? I mean, honestly, ugh.
I do.
Oh, thanks.
I still do, dear.
Oh, I appreciate you.
Oh my God, that's why people tune in because we still like each other.
A fan base of one.
Somebody else out there likes you.
Nobody.
You haven't gotten hate mail, so
not in a while.
That's true. Okay, you haven't gotten hate mail recently,
and apparently I've pissed off everybody who supports Trump.
You know what? Anybody that's in power, everybody has a right to comment.
Oh no! I personally hate Donald Trump.
We have established that.
As a human
Both
being.
You and I grew up in the 70s.
He just happens to be the president
80s
now, and can actually make things happen. But I really, truly disliked the man long before he entered politics.
We've established that.
So, I'm being
as a human
anyway.
being, I don't know what kind of being he would be. If you were a bean, what kind would you be? A mung bean? There is a long bean.
Well, there you go.
There's a long bean.
I guess I think
I might be a coca bean.
Coca bean?
Yeah.
Really?
Yeah.
Why?
Maybe a coffee bean.
A coffee bean?
Yeah. Brown and.
Yeah, I guess.
Tasty.
So anyway, things. Been working in the yard, doing all kinds of summer stuff, and
I should actually post some pictures. Not everybody that listens to us is on our Facebook. Some people are only on the podcast Facebook. So I guess periodically I should transfer a picture over there.
Why not?
So y'all can see the proud accomplishments and the reasons we neglected you for 2 podcasts.
Yeah, we didn't even get on and talk about the Iranian bombings. Which was, in fact, I think that was part of the reason I didn't want to.
It was just too much.
Well, I just wanted to see if we were going to get going on the, the final.
Were we actually going to be in a
final countdown?
A real war.
Or was it going to be something else?
No, we went to the danger zone and then we backed off.
Yes, we put our toe over the line.
Just the tip.
With one toke over the line, sweet Jesus.
Yes, that's where we were. And we all know the results of that, so we don't have to really talk about it because...
Well, they're still not sure.
The fact that
everybody's arguing about whether it did anything.
Well, that's the misinformation era we live in.
Well, right? I would like to offer just a...
You know something?
No, not really. With the word obliterated, when you think of the word obliterated.
Yes, that is gone from the face of the planet. There is nothing but
practically
rubble there.
Doesn't exist.
And we know that is
and
not
supposedly true. Dropping these 30,000-pound bombs obliterated this nuclear facility, which I assume is quite large.
And then questions still came after that. So.
Yes, and they're still going on.
But he hyperbolizes all the time.
That's not actually what I'm wondering, though, because he said, nothing could stand up to these bombs, and no place has been bombed like this before. And I just would like to point out, historically speaking, Iwo Jima.
Well, he brought up in Nagasaki, the way he says
Well, let me just talk about Iwo Jima for a minute, because it was literally a tiny little dot out in the Pacific. It's a volcanic island. Right. And the Japanese were defending it in World War II, and they had dug it in bunkers and all kinds of cool stuff where they knew that the Marines would be landing, because there was really only one place the Marines could land.
Could go,
And we bombed that place for days we're talking guns on battleships, huge monster guns that are shooting shells that are at least half the weight of these 30,000-pound bombs. But we did it for days. And when it was all said and done, all the naval personnel and the Marines who were going to be storming ashore after they had already dealt with this kind of nonsense in the past, they were like, well, it remains to be seen if it did any good. And it turns out, not really. Iwo Jima was the costliest loss of life for the Marine Corps during World War II.
Okay.
And it was simply because all that bombing still didn't get rid of the underground facilities that the Japanese had dug into the island.
And they weren't building concrete bunkers.
No, they weren't doing reinforced concrete and all this stuff that I'm sure that the Iranians do.
So,
the Iranians aren't stupid.
Really, this comes just down to the constant barrage of, yes, we did, no, we didn't.
Well, it's overestimating the kind of damage that bombing does.
Donald uses hyperbole.
Yes, I know.
Constantly.
It's his.
So, he says obliterated. We know that they bombed things.
But again, I just want to point out that words actually have meanings.
Well, they do, but it doesn't matter anymore.
And that was really just ridiculous.
Well,
the idea that 15 of these bombs would obliterate this underground facility is just nonsense. I don't care what the intelligence says; it just goes to reason.
Yeah, well,
because these were built.
That's gone too, dear. It's been obliterated.
But I'm thinking the tunnels in Iwo Jima were hand dug by Japanese laborers.
Yeah,
they weren't reinforced by concrete,
and yet
a couple of places were, but that's it. And the fact is, they were still ready to fight as soon as the bombardment was over.
And they came out from underground.
And I mean, it was a dot.
Well, the word I keep seeing popping up is the norm. Everything is the norm now. We've come to.
Well, I don't know how, because it keeps changing.
Well, but that is the norm. The fact that it changes constantly. So don't get comfortable with one story and what they say, and then there's going to be a counter.
Oh no! Don't ever do that.
So we have come to that point where words don't really have meaning because facts are malleable. So nobody knows what to believe.
Yeah, and you just keep shoveling.
Well, you do. You know what to believe based on your core values or your core beliefs.
Well, it's like if somebody took a pile of dog shit and very carefully and beautifully crafted, I don't know, the Venus de Milo out of that dog shit.
It's still shit.
It's still dog shit.
Yes.
It's pretty to look at, I guess. It's in the shape of the Venus de Milo.
It smells bad, and we know what it is.
And there are flies all over it.
And you're still trying to pawn it off on us.
Yeah, so I guess that's what bothers me is it's
that we've come
two
to
things in government bother me the most. People who are being hypocritical.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, sycophants that's just everywhere in life. But hypocritical stuff, and then people who simply cannot be honest.
Well, but we've already done that episode. In fact, I wanted to say that episode about would we lie to you, that is the one that seems to have been the most popular here recently. And I'm not really sure why, except maybe I don't remember what we said. I remember the research, which was simply that we are created to lie.
We do it from almost as young as 2.
Like to tell the truth all the time, it actually is work for somebody.
But what we've got now are people in leadership who have no honor.
Yeah, there is no honor.
There is no honor.
No,
there is no loyalty. Not really.
Well,
there's loyalty to Trump.
There's loyalty to the bank account.
But there's no loyalty to the Constitution because there's so many people willing to violate it.
No, we are really. That should be the theme of this episode. Rest in peace, constitutional republic.
I've got something to say about that.
If we don't have that document, the Constitution, as our supreme law of the land anymore, which clearly we don't.
Oh no, it's a constitutional failure.
Then we are no longer a democracy or a republic. We are no longer a constitutional republic
with three separate equal branches of government.
So what comes out of this at the end of our 4-year sentence that we've been sentenced to? Because I guess the majority of people didn't get out and vote. Enough people did not go out and speak their mind, like just we were talking about
the New York City thing.
Yes.
Well, first of all, if you haven't heard,
oh my God,
it's oh my God, the sky is falling. A socialist has been offered up as mayor, but he still has a runoff.
He still has to run.
It's a runoff.
But nobody came to nobody.
None of the other. Well, it's him and Cuomo, and now everybody else who was on the ballot isn't.
Yeah.
And we'll see what happens. But here's the thing. New Yorkers don't care.
Well, with Cuomo, they know what they're going to get because they've already had it. This guy, he's like, you people are paying $29 for a damn sandwich,
Yeah, but they don't care.
No, apparently not.
In New York, they don't care. Less than 20% of New York City voted in this election of registered voters. So Republican or Democrat only... 18% roughly went out and voted.
Up.
The other
they were busy.
Yeah, the other 88% or what? No, 82%.
Yeah.
Said, yeah, I got things to do, man.
I got stuff going on.
It's New York, baby. It's going to happen. Whatever's going to happen is going to happen. Hey.
Well, that laissez-faire attitude is taken off.
Well, the laissez-faire thing was supposed to be about the government, not about the people.
Well, apathy.
Now the people
we've shifted.
Well, Congress is certainly all about laissez-faire.
Like it doesn't matter. Whatever we say now doesn't matter.
Not if Congress won't listen.
No, Congress needs to be fired.
They all do.
If you want to do budget cut all of them out because they're not doing their damn jobs. I don't want to give them benefits. They do not get health care. They do not get retirement. They do not get security anymore.
Let me tell you what's in the Senate version of the big, beautiful bill. This is actually kind of fun.
Because this is going to pass.
Oh, yeah. Senate Republicans added a new line. Currently, federal employees contribute 4.4% if you were hired after 2014, and 4.4% of their salary goes to their pension plan.
Okay,
that's what it's been.
All right.
They're about to raise it to an additional. Hang on, I got to find the percentage now because I don't want to be a liar.
Oh no. Not if you don't have to be.
Oh, they're raising it to 15.6%.
Holy shit! From 4.4, I was pissed off about our healthcare. Oh my God!
And this is the Senate, of course. So this will require all federal employees to contribute 15.6% of their salaries, up from the 4.4% that they paid.
Well, then Congress and Senate are going to ask for a raise because they're going to be losing more money out of their paychecks.
Well, it turns out, though, that a draft reconciliation text conveniently excludes or includes a carve-out exempting, get this, members of Congress and their staff.
Oh, shit.
They get to continue paying the low rate.
But this is my point. We expect this now.
Federal law enforcement will also be exempt from the new contributions, along with a proposed 10% fee on union dues deductions.
Wait, what do you...
So
if you're in a union and
federal law enforcement will be exempt from the new contract. So these federal law enforcement officials,
the ones who January 6th would have been there to...
Should have been there, but they're the ones that are in California, arresting brown people.
Yeah.
Anyway, but all federal law enforcement, they're exempt from the new contributions as well. So there's a handoff to them.
Yes, a nod to them.
And there's going to be a 10% fee on their union dues deductions. So the government's going to take 10% of their union dues deductions.
So they're penalizing them for being part of a union.
But not nearly as much as they're helping them by not making them pay into the pension plan.
Yeah, but it does negate some of that if you count
a lot of that. Money. I mean, come on.
Well, okay, so like union dues, we don't pay union dues.
No, but you know good and well that it's nowhere close to 15% of their salary.
No, certainly not. But that's still it's a tax. Everything's a tax on us.
So anyway. But the main part of this, of course, is to recognize that Congress
is not going to have to
gave themselves a carve-out.
And they recently were asking for a raise not too long ago, I recall, saying that they hadn't received a raise in, I don't know how long it had been, 20 years. 15.
Well, I just thought it was interesting that Congress gave themselves, again,
this is their way of getting their raise, I guess.
Carve-out. Well, it's to get the support of law enforcement. Since they're being asked to so often violate, the Constitution.
All right. So you want to tell us another way we're getting screwed?
Oh, there's so many.
I know there are. That's that was part of the joy of just doing outside yard work and not thinking about any of it.
Hey, be glad you're not a brown person.
Well, I'm certainly browner than I was. Louisiana son and Louisiana second son.
Well, I guess we should address the elephant in the room that I keep seeing on the news, which was the Supreme Court decision. Everybody thinks that Trump now has won on birthright citizenship. That is not what the Supreme Court ruled.
Yes. Okay.
What they ruled was
the technical side.
What they ruled was that that federal judges could not issue nationwide injunctions in this type of case.
It would only affect their area.
The Supreme Court or the Constitution, the 14th Amendment says anyone born on U.S. soil or its protectorates are citizens of the United States. That's what it says. Originally, Trump is not lying when he says originally it was meant to address the problem of kids who were born into slavery or people born into slavery.
Yes.
It did apply to that, but it has since applied to all children born in the United States.
And we've had that for
And he wants
decades.
that to go away. And he issued an executive order, day one, that suspended
birthright citizenship.
the 14th Amendment.
Okay.
Birthright citizenship. He suspended it. Now, can he do that legally? Well, not according to the Constitution, obviously. But the only way to address that was for judges to be able to stop him. Judges can no longer stop him except in their own jurisdiction. So, for instance, if the 6th District judges say you can't do that here, it would apply to the states that are in the 6th District.
Think about how convoluted that's going to be to police.
If you're born in California, you're a U.S. citizen.
So is it zip code? I mean, it'll be.
But are you a U.S. citizen?
Well, in your zip code.
Well, in your regional area.
And then if you cross out and you go to the state.
Because there's 12 districts. There's 12 federal districts. So if a district judge in the 12th district, it only covers the 12th district.
Yes.
So in states where judges haven't received a case.
Yes, so they
about
haven't
the 14th Amendment,
they haven't needed to hear a case on that.
So in those states, the executive order could be theoretically carried out, and a kid could be born, and they could come and whisk him away to, I don't know, wherever.
Go back to
because the Supreme Court has also okayed recently the ability to deport people to countries they don't even belong to.
Yeah, I was going to say that they're not even.
Because he wants to send people to a new detention center in Sierra Leone, which I should point out is like one of the poorest countries on earth. And
well, they're going to make money off.
And
of
they have constant civil war struggles.
So the people we send over there can just become
they'll
fighters.
Just disappear.
They'll
just
fighters.
disappear. It's a black hole. It's the black hole of Calcutta all over again.
But they'll receive money from the United States for housing.
Kids, look up Black Hole of Calcutta. and you'll see what that was.
Right. They will receive money from the United States for housing those people.
We would assume.
Because he said that, who was it recently he was sending people to, and we had a financial arrangement with that country.
Correct. But anyway, that's what the Supreme Court said.
Okay. So really what they've done is they've
Here is my question. Speaking of, a while ago, you might have recalled that I mentioned hypocrisy. If the 14th Amendment doesn't matter.
Okay.
To the Supreme or to the people in Congress who could address a lot of these problems if they would just get off their asses and do their job
and earn their money.
Yes, the stuff we pay them for, and that they give themselves carve-outs for,
and that they did.
Yeah. Anyway, Congress isn't doing its job, so that's one of the legs of our three-legged stool of government, and I use the word stool properly. But anyway, if they're not doing their job and the Supreme Court says, well, judges can't stop the executive from doing what they're doing except in these districts.
Yes, you can't override the president's
executive order. Which is not, by the way, not in the Constitution.
But you only have control in your zone.
Right. So you're born in a zone where the judge has issued an injunction against this rule suspending birthright citizenship. Theoretically, you can't be deported from that zone after being born because you're a citizen.
Yes.
However, if you're born in a district where a judge hasn't made a ruling, then Trump's rule would apply, and they could come whisk you off to wherever.
And as long as that judge keeps their mouth shut and doesn't make a ruling,
or if people don't. So now, what's going to happen is class action lawsuits against the government, which are notoriously long,
more convoluted, and tie up the judicial branch even further.
Correct. And what the Supreme Court could have done,
that's not functioning properly either.
What the Supreme Court could have done, and they had the right to do it, was simply go, you know what, the 14th Amendment's solid, it's rock solid. Here are the words. This is what it says. This is what was meant. Too bad.
Apparently everything's open to interpretation now, and it's open
GTFO. If you're born here, you're a citizen.
Okay.
But they didn't do that. They punted once again. And Now we've created a mess.
And Donald claims a win.
Of course. And he says this is the Supreme Court allows him now to do what he wants with the 14th Amendment. People don't seem to give a shit.
No.
But here's my question.
Because it's all become the norm.
For all the hypocrites out there. If you can violate, the Fifth Amendment by not doing what you're supposed to do, and the Fourth Amendment against illegal search and seizure, because they are going after citizens too. Mm-hmm. If you can lift all of those, well, then why can't we just get rid of the Second Amendment? Oh, no. That's the most important amendment.
Yes, that's so we don't have
freedom. Give me guns.
We can fight tyranny.
Yeah, no shit.
Does he realize that he? Right now it's his people with guns, and nobody thinks that liberal Democrats would ever carry a weapon.
And look, another thing they've added to the bill that's going to cut Medicaid is they're going to create a tax, basically a subsidy,
a rebate
for people who want to buy silencers.
Okay.
I swear. So
it's going to look good on your taxes.
Silencers important. Yes. Healthcare not.
Okay.
The Congress and Democrats in Congress are just useless, and Republicans are just going along with it because
they're in charge.
They're terrified of Trump for some reason.
They're the ones in power right now. Why would you go against that?
I think they just like it. I really do.
I don't find anybody that I can support in this current.
What was it? Norm Macdonald said
line.
That time. Some people may find this harsh, but I believe everyone in this story should die. Wasn't that what Norm said?
Norm's moved on, so he's out of the loop. He doesn't have to run this plot line with the rest of us.
That's true. That's true.
I don't even know what to say anymore, dear. I'd like to get on here and witty banter with you about it all, but it's not funny, and I don't know where it's going to end.
I have funny.
You have funny? I do. I do. I'm not leaving us with all this heavy.
Did you happen by the way, we didn't talk about what we were going to talk about.
What were we going to talk about?
No, that was the point. We didn't share. Normally we talk about what we're going to talk about before we talk about it. And this time we didn't talk about what we're going to talk about.
Technique.
Yeah.
Your journalistic technique is to say what you're going to say.
Coming in dumb.
Yes. So I don't even know what happened. We've been out of practice.
You didn't get that story about the Chat GPT thing, huh?
Oh, the one with the creating psychosis?
Hey, man.
No, that's terrifying.
This is hilarious.
I did read it, though.
Okay. People are being involuntarily committed and jailed after spiraling into Chat GPT psychosis. Here's the quote. I don't know what's wrong with me, but something is very bad. I'm very scared and I need to get into the hospital.
Yes, I need to get into the hospital. They're trying to get all existential and getting Chat GPT to talk big, heavy stuff with them. They don't need to be in their head like that.
Chat GPT, they're talking with the Chat GPT as this AI, as if it's an actual psychiatrist or whatever.
Yes, and they're trying to dive deep into their souls.
But apparently some people are developing obsessions that are literally spiraling into paranoia and delusions and breaks with reality.
What was it? One woman's husband who suddenly, and he did it in a short period of time, a couple weeks, stopped doing work and didn't go and do his job. And he was always talking to his Chat GPT and lying about it.
This wife, I was just I don't fucking know what to do. Nobody knows what to do.
Wait, did she say the F word?
Yeah, yeah, she did.
Oh, okay.
Her husband, she said, had no prior history of any psychological problems. He turned to Chat GPT 12 weeks ago for assistance with a permaculture and construction project.
Yeah, that was it, 12 weeks.
Soon after engaging the bot in probing philosophical chats, well, there's your mistake.
Stop it.
He became engulfed in messianic delusions, proclaiming that he had somehow brought forth a sentient AI, and that with it he had broken math and physics, embarking on a mission to save the world. His gentle personality faded as his obsession deepened, and his behavior became so erratic. He was fired. He stopped sleeping.
Yes.
He lost all kinds of weight.
So
he would say to his wife, look, just talk to ChatGPT. You'll see what I'm talking about.
No.
And every time I looked at the screen, it just sounded like affirming sycophantic bullshit.
Okay. Yes, I remember that now. So is this a case of ChatGPT stirring up something that was already there as far as like a mental, I don't know, issue for this man? Or did it actually cause it because it broke his brain?
Well, I don't know. But another man in 10 days said he turned to ChatGPT for help at work. He started a new high-stress job and was hoping the chatbot could expedite his tasks. No prior history of mental illness. Mm-hmm. He says, I don't remember much of the ordeal, which seems to be a common symptom in people who have these breaks with reality because of ChatGPT, but recalls the severe psychological stress of fully believing that lives, including those of his wife and child, were at grave risk and no one was listening to him. Oh. I remember being on the floor crawling towards my wife on my hands and knees and begging her to just listen. So she actually committed him.
Yeah.
A 5150.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
Damn.
I was in the backyard and she saw that my behavior was kind of getting out there. I was talking about mind reading and future telling and just speak. Oh, and then I was actively trying to speak backwards through time. If that doesn't make sense, though, don't worry. It still doesn't make sense to me.
But I was saying it. Okay. Well, then, kids, ChatGPT is addictive, and it's what they warned you about with like crack. Crack cocaine. Don't do it. Not even once.
If you can't put your trust in people, don't put it in an AI.
Don't put it in an
because
AI.
Guess what? The AI learned how to think and talk.
It's all of our bullshit.
Like us.
Yes. And it's everything that us has put out there.
They're bullshit spraying machines.
Therefore, it's, yeah. So if you're looking for meaning in your life, you're not going to find it there. Actually, that was your topic right there, trust. We can segue into my topic.
Oh, really?
Yes, that's absolutely.
Oh, but I have so much trust that's been broken. So much.
Well, then you're not happy.
Okay.
That's what the study proves.
Well, I have to do the story. Did you read the story about Beyonce? How much trouble she's in? For
that stupid T-shirt? I don't give a shit.
I know. I don't either.
Okay. Well, no.
Historically speaking.
I don't know how long we've been talking. I haven't paid attention. I'm out of practice. I'm not doing. Ladies and gentlemen, this is a non-scripted podcast. If you have not figured that out. And there's no ChatGPT here. You're not getting all existential and digging deep into
Hey, Google, is my wife talking too much? Yes, Glenn. Did you see that? Oh, my God.
Shut your mouth. Shut your dirty whore mouth. Can I move on now? Because we have to move to something more upbeat because we can't leave our people with the shit of the world. We've been it's been vulgar. It's all because of Donald. The F word is officially born.
Oh, yeah, we can all use it now.
Because of Donald.
Woo!
Yeah.
Fuckity fuck.
We were all shocked and surprised. He's taken away that.
If the president can say it, anybody can say it.
He's taken that away, and it's very upsetting to me because there's such power in that word.
Well, it's our word.
It's the people's word.
It's the people's word.
And that's what he's doing. He's disguising himself and trying to act like he's one of us. He is in no way like the normal people.
Oh, God, no.
No, he is not.
Groceries.
Okay, groceries.
It's a word I made up.
You've never been in a grocery store, sir.
And can we just talk about for a minute his last thing, peace through strength?
Oh, his lie there, too.
That one just, when it's her lie.
She claimed it for him. I know.
It's because she's a Pipsqueak Levitt. She is a harpy.
She is holding on to her job. I keep going back to that stupid series that you wanted me to finish, and I'm not going to do it. Succession.
Oh, yeah,
that family business thing.
Yeah,
that was horrible. I mean, I've watched almost the first season, all of the first season with you, and they're all horrible people.
Every single one.
All just to stay on those golden titties. It's just.
Yeah, there it is again.
See, I told you. Uh-huh. I'd bring it back. I could do that. So just to stay in power, just to have the role that you have right now, I will do anything. I will sell my soul. I will say whatever I have to say.
Oh, by the way, Golden Titties brought to you by the movie The Glass Onion. Okay.
Some strange the things that stick in your head sometimes.
Yeah.
But happiness. Can we go to happiness for a minute?
Oh.
This is not my main topic, but it's going to lead in to my main topic.
Well, it's just.
I didn't tell you what I was doing today.
Here's the thing. I'll give a little bit of advice. When Levitt is speaking, and if you don't know who Levitt is, that's the spokesperson for the White House. She's that blonde woman who used to wear a cross and stopped wearing it because people complained.
Yeah, people got upset. She prays before she goes on camera.
Whatever.
I don't know that she speaks in tongues like those other people.
If she wants to pray to Donald, that's fine. But anyway, she's a harpy. She's just a harpy. But
she's not a succubus.
The other day when she said that he created the phrase peace through strength, and it's just like the historian in me went, ah!
You're not the only one. The whole world lit up.
Just like the word equalize.
Like I know sometimes something happens on Jeopardy.
It's a word I created.
And I say, you better look it up because somebody Jeopardy fan club has already gotten online and started bitching about it. So they were doing it at the moment she said that. Somebody started griping.
And that's gaslighting. It's
well, and that's
really what it is.
What we've been saying. It's become the norm.
Yes.
And since it's become the norm, we expect it. I said, I don't know, probably years ago, before we even started the podcast, this idea that the more we know, right, the more they feed us, the less we believe. Because if you know everything, if you hear everything, you believe nothing. Well, that is true now more than ever. Now I'm going to my damn story about happiness.
Fine, I'll let you speak.
You're just going to be happy about it.
All right, 3 minutes go.
Okay. Apparently, trust is what makes us happy. Trust has a profound impact on our mental health and our well-being.
Hey.
So you've got 3 levels of trust.
I almost completely trust you.
Our neighbors, our institutions, and our society. So we need to have trust because that connection makes us all happier.
Informed trust.
Well,
because idiots will trust anybody.
Well, some people are just more trusting, but the cycle there is that the more you trust, the happier you are, and therefore you tend to trust people more. Okay, so you've got your intimate partners, your intimate people, the closest, your family and friends that you need to
Can we establish first that I trust people far more than you do?
Oh, hell yeah.
See there?
Oh, I am very...
That means I'm the good one.
No, that means I put on a good show. Acting. Well, because I'll give you a little bit, but at some point I'm leaving. I'm exiting the situation if I can, if I don't trust you. Or I'll go home and mentally examine everything and still not trust you. But no, trust comes from time and
it's something you build.
A concrete expectation. Like you can say, I can predict what this person would do in this given situation, whether I'm there or not.
Yes.
And that only comes from experience. Like the more you do with that person, the more you can understand.
Because I guarantee you, when it comes to trust, we don't remember the first time. Because when you're a kid, you trust everybody.
Oh, but yeah, and then they start breaking those little bonds.
But there had to be
Easter
a moment
Bunny.
where real trust was built.
Yes.
And that moment it was broken. Must be devastating.
Your parents do that with the Easter Bunny.
But that's not
Santa
the same thing. I'm
stuff.
talking about built trust.
As an infant, you cry and somebody's going to come.
Yeah. That's all normal. I'm talking about a relationship with somebody other than your parents.
Oh, outside of your... Okay.
Because that trust stuff is already done.
Yes.
But you have like a friend.
Yeah, your confidant, your partner, spouse, whatever.
And they betray you.
Yes.
It must be shattering.
Well, yes. And then you have to look back and say, what did I miss?
But that's not what people do.
Were they just that good at the lie? Because we've already established that we're going to lie anyway.
Do a lot of people go, what did I do?
Yeah, a lot of people do that, but it's not you.
Well, it could be.
All right. So trusting others makes us happier, and being happy makes us more likely to trust others. So it's a mutually reinforcing situation, right?
Should be.
So for most of us, that does make sense. I mean, I trust you because I've been in so many different situations with you in the last 42 years that I can
Has
pretty
it been
much
that long?
shut up. I can pretty much predict, this is what, because I know you well enough.
Yeah.
And for the most part, you haven't given me pause to not trust.
I would never ask you to dig a grave for one of the people I've murdered.
I'm good at digging, though. We've dug a lot of holes here recently. So when it's your partner, that's one type of betrayal. Then you've got your government and you've got society as well. And I feel like society has broken my trust because I would naively go through life thinking that most people had some sort of balance between head and heart. That they were objective and logical and facts meant something. And then they also cared and realized that we do still have to take care of society, that there is a community of people that need extra support and that we have to do that. Yes, I'm sounding like a socialist. That's just part of being human, I think. But the society has betrayed me, or at least 50 whatever percent have betrayed my trust.
Well, you don't know, actually, because the majority, again, only half of the people who could help make these decisions for our country.
Yes, even got out and voted. So then they betrayed.
So they betrayed everything.
The bond that we have as American citizens, that you're supposed to go out and vote. It's part of our It's part of our duty for those rights that we feel like we're entitled to, that the Bill of Rights has given us.
Yes.
Apparently, these papers mean nothing anymore.
Trust in our institutions.
Yes.
Is at an all-time low. That's a fact.
It is. So we have basic faith in strangers and humanity. That's second. And then institutional trust, our confidence in our government, our police, our banks, our AIs,
and so
our schools.
When people's trust in the foundation crack, then along comes this is hypothetical. Of course. This is totally hypothetical.
Where it goes.
But along comes a guy who's kind of known and starts pointing out what's wrong with the institution
that we
all knew was broken.
We all knew that the system was not working.
And this guy, for whatever reason, convinces enough people that he knows what's wrong and he will fix it. Generally don't turn out real well in the long term.
But again, he's a figurehead. He's the one that they've put out front.
He gets people who trust him enough that what he's saying is true.
But he changes it so often.
Power. Just power. Mm-hmm. Is that thunder?
Yes, it is thunder.
Oh. Mm-hmm. I think that what's going on right now, what bothers me is a lot of people have put their trust in one person.
Yes.
Not understanding.
Well, I've complained about that with the pulpit.
That one man up there is not man.
Yeah, not the one to tell me what I think.
It's the circle of people who sit at the table around him.
Yes.
And what they're willing to set aside in order to enact things that they know damn good and well don't fly constitutionally.
Yes.
Picking up U.S. citizens and detaining them for 3 or 4 days until you can make sure when they've shown you their identification.
Yeah. And that means nothing either.
But it doesn't mean anything.
But those are documents that came from the institution itself.
And the institution granted many of these people residency.
And now they're trying to go back on it.
And now we're rounding them up and shipping them off.
And saying, no, you know what? We're not going to go by that law anymore.
So we've relegated ourselves back to what we were like with Native Americans.
So
here's a treaty.
Yes.
This is promised to you forever.
You know, I thought Indian giver in my head.
And then all of a sudden the Indians are sitting around having breakfast and they hear the sound of Gary Owen being played by Custer's troops before they get attacked. You know, that's
yeah. So you can't if there's no consistency, there's no trust. And that goes for personal relationships, government, society. You have to have some consistency. So that aspect is definitely broken in society and government. You know, the trust happiness connection is not consistent across all age groups.
Really?
Children, teenagers, and the elderly show the strongest links, having trusting others and feeling good about life in general. Young adults and middle-aged people, by contrast, the association was a little weaker. It wasn't I don't know that I think it's part of their time frame in life. Like they're, working on careers, they're working on families and doing all that stuff. But children, teenagers, and the elderly all have to rely on somebody.
Well, so because those institutions are cracking.
Well, I know that was what I was getting at, because you get to the point when you're an older adult, trust becomes very important again, because somebody's going to have to take care of you. You recognize that you're elderly, and if you don't have family there or they're not going to be there, the institution becomes essential because otherwise what happens to you? You're a pauper. So we know what happens to a pauper when they die. And I mean,
well, they get experimented on.
Yeah, they get exactly. Their body gets donated to science, or they get burned, or they're
going to get chopped up.
Yeah, they're not going to. So
they're forgotten. Any
connections you've had in life.
Up the chimney, as it were.
Yeah. It's okay. So, yeah.
Because and that's my problem personally for me, is my trust in the institutions that I thought were built on this document are crumbling. When
we get the little ones like, say Bill Cosby, we find out that broke a trust for me.
Yeah,
it was silly, but it was still a childhood, bond that I had for him. And
well, it's this feudalist society that we're headed for.
Oh, that we're going back to. Absolutely. Do you want to know the country where the highest trust is for each other, for the institutions, for everything?
Is it in Scandinavia?
Yeah, Finland and Denmark.
Yeah, of course.
Yeah.
Socialist countries, I might add.
Yeah, they take care of each other.
Well, they just require that everybody kind of contribute.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Everybody puts in.
Everybody puts in. The rich.
We saw the hard numbers the other day in the story of the however many people could take care of the entire world.
World poverty could be ended
22 times.
Yeah.
By just these people.
Can't you do it once?
I know. We don't need it 22. We just want, and they can have
think
a lot
about
of money.
If everybody had stable, nice lives and lived in, I don't know, some type of structure, and and could get educated and actually could
contribute.
Can contribute.
Yeah, and support each other.
Think what the production would be like.
Like, I've been obsessed with the Monty Don gardening shows, and it's just fascinating for me to see the allotments that they give them when they live in the inner city, Yeah. So America does it, and we go, oh, look, isn't that nice of that community? Well, that should be all communities.
Yes.
All city areas should have an allotment for people so they can go and grow things, so they can have flowers, so they can get back to nature and actually, oh, dear God, I'm turning into a hippie. Oh, God, it's just.
Well, don't worry.
The benefits of trust.
Once we get all these trade deals taken care of,
Are we doing trade deals?
Oh, yeah, 90 deals in 90 days, man.
He just broke off with Canada.
We've had two.
Okay. Please don't take me off topic.
Okay, I'm sorry.
I'm going to go to my final topic. Do we have time?
Yes, you do.
I do? Okay. Because the trust thing, actually, here, I'm going to take it back to where the rabbit hole began for me. It was the Bezos photos for the wedding.
The wedding.
I don't generally look at that shit, but
how could you not?
I wanted to see. Yeah, it was
it's everywhere.
I like fashion. I like to look at clothes. Okay, so it started there, and it was the Kardashians. It was all the women showing up in her little bachelorette party on a yacht somewhere, and they're all doing hand signals,
hand gestures,
the things that we all do in pictures. And
I don't.
You've probably done it too.
I've done bunny ears.
You've done bunny ears. Bunny ears are on the gesture topic.
Yeah, but that's different.
Okay, no,
because you're doing it to someone else.
Okay. Well, I'll get to bunny ears. We're not there yet. Okay. So that started me on this whole gesture thing. It's like, why? We all look like such idiots. Gen Zers like to do the peace sign, but it's at an angle and they tilt their head.
Yeah, with the same direction as the
fingers. And anybody that follows any of these people know that they all have these standard poses, and they all involve some sort of hand gesture.
Yes.
Because that's how we express ourselves.
You have to do it that way.
But see, we do it more honestly. Hand gestures are more honest than what we say.
I have one I use quite a bit.
All right. Oh, dear God. All right. So that made me, look at the hand.
We're number one. We're number one.
Travis Kelce, after a touchdown, does the little heart hand signal to Taylor in the stands, and the world loses their shit.
Yeah.
Okay. So,
and then the following year, he crashes and burns and has one of his worst seasons ever.
That's what happens when they fall in love. Look what Madonna did to Guy Ritchie.
And Sean Penn.
Oh, dear God.
And anybody else she's come in contact
they've come
with?
back from that, but those were the two most famous. So some kind of succubus. See, you said harpy for
succubus
but
is
a succubus
good.
for these women. Okay, I'm people.
What you got there is a succubus.
I am not calling Taylor Swift a succubus.
Not her.
I did not say that. Okay.
No,
Madonna.
She would certainly be more of a harpy, I think, probably.
Madonna's the succubus. Okay, so these women, so much money. Right, so much power, and yet
so much money that it's meaningless.
It is. It's just trash.
It's meaningless.
So the other thing I noticed, besides the fact that they're still doing those hand gestures, and it looks really weird, especially with all their faces,
with rich people,
with really, really rich people wearing garb that has relegated them to need assistance. They seem to almost all, because they are getting into a boat, but it's not just because, like, if I had on my shorts or my capris or whatever, I could get down into a boat.
Sure.
I might have one person holding my hand, but I could certainly step down and get into the damn boat. They were all wearing things that made them need more help. So their clothing, as beautiful as some of it was extremely, it doesn't empower them.
No. It limits them.
It limits them, and it makes them second-class citizens.
Can we just talk about the idea of planning a wedding? So you know how people are going to dress if you're famous.
Oh, yeah.
And you're going to have a wedding in one of the dirtiest, smelliest places on earth.
Oh, yeah.
In Venice.
Apparently it just smelled like a sewer.
It does. That's what was the first thing our son told us after he visited Venice?
Oh, yeah.
It smells like an open sewer.
Yeah, it's just a big open sewer. My favorite protest, though, my favorite one was this lone paper mache mannequin looking Bezos lying on a big giant piece of cardboard duct taped down, and he had all this money in his hands, and he's just like floating like Leonard DiCaprio from Titanic.
So I want to give all of my guests a really uncomfortable experience.
Yeah, well, apparently some people backed out. All right. So hand gestures.
Okay, hand gestures. Go.
As old as cavemen.
Oh, no
right?
way.
Because, grunting doesn't hand gesture, right?
Well, look, those hands on the rock wall where they spit paint. That's a hand gesture.
The crystal whatever, the crystal cave.
Because they had the one guy that had his finger cut off, and so they could identify
and you could tell
him.
It was the same guy.
Yeah.
What's the first thing that cavemen wanted to do? I want to put my hand.
I'm going to put my hand
and leave my handprint here for 1,000 years.
35,000 years.
35,000 years.
Yeah,
okay, even
like
more so. So it really does go that far back, right? Because studies trying to see if
you believe in science.
Well, yeah, unfortunately, I'm a victim of trusting science. Yes, the science says.
Do.
Most of the time, I question when it needs to be questioned.
I question studies.
Yes. Well, like the one about trust. But they brought together 22 studies, 2.5 million people globally for that trust study.
Oh, that was a big study.
So I felt like, this is actually pretty.
So tell me about some of my old hand gestures.
So, ancient Romans with their thumbs up or thumbs down, or even thumbs sideways, that kind of thing. Very valuable in communication, right? Yep. We use our hands. We gesticulate quite a bit. Handshakes, right? Goes all the way back to, where does it go all the way back to?
I know it sounds like the microphones are being hit, but it's thunder.
It's thunder. It's thunder. Handshakes have been around for thousands of years. Earliest depiction in art, 4th century BC, Greece. Homer even mentioned handshakes in the Odyssey a while later. Couple theories about the origin. So,
the weapon thing.
Symbolizes you don't have anything in your hand, right?
The Greeks weren't worried about that when you were wearing a sheet. Come on.
So showing an open palm while extending your hand meant you didn't intend any violence to them, right?
Yeah.
You're not attacking. You're just.
It's a touching.
A clasping.
It's the sniffing of one's butt.
There you go. Equivalent to the dogs. I wish we had tails. Because those are honest.
I know. Those
a tail wag is
great.
Honest. 17th century, Quakers. Handshake in place of bowing as a way to show that they're equal. You bow to somebody, you're showing deference to them.
Like when the president bowed to the king of Saudi Arabia that time, or the prince.
The prince. Yeah. So that, and I like that because the Quakers were all equal.
Yes.
Yeah. They were not holding slaves. They didn't do any of that shit. And yet the Puritans were merciless to the Quakers.
Well, everybody was, even during the Revolution. because the Quakers wouldn't take a stand. So if you're middle of the road, look out, man.
Well, that's
because that's actually true in Germany too. When Hitler came to power,
pick a side.
Pick a side.
No, you're both wrong.
Yeah, no, I refuse to pick a side.
Stop it.
I'm more dimensional than that.
No doubt.
There's no side.
Layers. We are onions.
That's right. Golden.
we are onions.
But unfortunately, a lot of us are glass onions. Ooh, callback.
Oh, wow. Brought it full tilt.
Thank you.
Okay, nice. So now a handshake, cracks me up. Now a handshake is a symbol of trust, a greeting, and an agreement, right? Used to be, because my dad, I remember him telling me when I was a small child and he shook somebody's hand and I asked him about it. He said, well, a man's handshake is his bond. It is his word. If he shook on it with you, right?
Yeah.
And we know that.
And people violate that bond all the time right off the bat by crushing your hand.
Yeah, squeezing to show some sort of power thing, or holding your hand really tight and then using their other hand to grab your shoulder.
Don't touch my shoulder.
Don't touch me.
Don't.
There's no need for that. I had hoped that COVID would get rid of the handshake.
But it
did not.
I love the fist bump. I still think the fist bump is better.
Waving, right? The cave paintings, there it is, 35,000 years ago.
In fact, to protest handshakes, what I like to do is go take a big dump and make sure that I get some crap on my hand and then not wash it.
All right. We know that waving is a similar.
That's not true. I'm too nervous about germs. Of course, I wash my hands. I just want to.
Well, yeah, we're teachers. Jesus Lord.
Oh yeah.
I get sick at least twice a year.
Oh yeah.
At least. The offensive middle finger.
Oh, there's a bunch of rumors about how that started.
There are.
Archers.
Okay. So middle finger gesture, digitus impudis, impudent finger.
Oh.
Okay.
So even in Latin,
ancient Greece and Rome,
that symbol meant.
Screw you. Yeah.
Yeah. It's been around a long time.
They use that, to them. That's the phallic symbol.
Yeah.
Because of course,
you put your fingers next to it, and it's like balls.
It's dick and balls.
Yeah.
So of course, it always comes back to the penis.
Yeah.
Always.
Seems like it.
Well, I mean, it's the giver of life.
Isn't it awfully nice to have a penis?
Because you can't do a womb.
Isn't it frightfully good to have
you don't have a womb is internal, so a womb can't be your. So women have breasts, right? That's the life-giving symbol for women.
So give it up for your John Thomas.
All right. So insult people, we've got to always figure out a way. Roman citizens used it as a top tier kind of insult. A couple thousand years later, middle finger's still going strong, right? Everybody, now we flip off, the double flip off. Just know that you're passing on a tradition that is
ancient.
Ancient, yes.
So as a historian, I am going to start using that far more often.
Well, here.
In fact, when I greet people. Hey, how you doing?
In 1886 in the United States, that's the first documentation in the U.S. of the middle finger that we have. A pitcher for the Boston Bean Eaters flipped the bird in a photograph with the team's rivals, the New York Giants.
Nice.
So it was both teams. And in
Boston
the picture,
and New York.
This guy.
That's how long it's been happening.
Yeah.
Boston and New York. That's great.
Fuck you, Giants. Bunny ears.
Okay.
All right. Bunny ears. Behind your friend's head.
Yeah.
All right. In the Middle Ages, that was used to mock enemies by giving them not bunny ears, but giving them horns.
Oh, yeah.
Right.
Cuckold.
Or fool. You're calling them a fool.
You're calling them a cuckold.
Well, that continues on. So you got multiple meanings, obviously. Hand gesture also symbolized donkey ears, calling you an ass in the Middle Ages. So that was another impactful insult that they would have been very upset by. Darker meaning, according to a research paper in 2006, that attaches it to the cuckold horns as a way to shame a man. Multi-layered. It is bunny ears are multi-layered.
Have been around a long time.
Because because it's behind somebody.
Yeah.
So
and often when they don't know.
And I did that recently in a photo.
Did you really?
Yes, I did.
Nice.
For no I don't even know why. That was my point about hand gestures. Even the rich bitches are doing it.
Yeah.
So I don't know. Anyway, crossed fingers.
Huh.
Religious.
Yeah.
Yeah. Crossing your fingers, we do for hope. We want to give hope to somebody. Oh, I cross my fingers. There's a myth that involves ancient pagans that would link pinkies at a secret wish party. Pinky swears, giving rise to the idea of crossing your fingers for luck, though the gesture actually probably didn't start there. It's picked up steam, though, in medieval Europe. they were fans of anything shaped like a cross.
Yeah.
So if you do it, you're trying to give the little lowercase t right there.
That's why I've always thought that the one thing they've missed in every vampire movie ever is if the cross is such a horrible symbol, then driving down a highway would be murder.
I know, right? Just throwing curses everywhere.
And but then they fixed it. Somebody thought that, obviously, because then they fixed it at one point in one movie. I think it was Fright Night, where he goes, you have to have belief.
Oh yeah, for that to work.
For that to work.
Yeah. If you don't actually believe, it doesn't work. At that point,
it's null and void.
That's it. Thumbs up, thumbs down. Obviously, it's got the Roman gladiator myth to it.
Yes,
they would.
That we may have had wrong for many years.
I was going to say it may have actually been wrong. We know that by the 20th century, a thumbs up got a glow up from a guy named Arthur Guy Empey, an American soldier who enlisted with the British in World War I. He wrote a memoir called Over the Top, and in it he describes British soldiers using the thumbs up, right, to say, yeah, we're okay. This was a major shift.
I still have a thumb.
Let's do this. And we know aviation, right? It's just easy. You can't talk to each other easily, so you give a communication hand gesture. So,
and the peace sign in Britain, if you turn it backwards where the back of your hand is facing and you divot a little up, then it's up yours.
Yes, that comes up in the gesture gaffes. Things you should not do in other countries, because to them it's going to mean, something else. In Australia, if you do a thumbs up, then that's inappropriate.
Oh.
Especially if you do an up and down.
Oh, yeah.
Move it up and down. It's no. The okay sign, that's a problem in a lot of countries. Thumbs up in Afghanistan, Iran, and parts of the Middle East and South Asia considered a middle finger. A lot of those things come.
Just realized we created our own hand gestures when I was in high school. We had one for this meant you had to go pee.
It gets limp. Okay, we're on the radio, dear.
I know.
Yeah, okay.
Trust me, it was hilarious.
Clapping.
All
right, as a way of what are they? Professional clappers in Rome. Back in ancient Rome, clapping was so ingrained in Roman theaters that they would actually hire professional clappers called laudators to make sure the audience sounded pumped. It made me think of the clown in the Twisted Metal. He needs the clapping. Ancient Roman politicians were obsessed with how much noise they got when they strutted into a public arena. This is Donald.
So the original
Donald
applause
meter.
Yes,
applause
Donald
was so
applause.
highly respected. It was essentially used as a way for them to collect data.
He needs praise.
Like how much, who gets the highest, we don't have an applause meter. Somebody's got to listen, but that guy got the best clap. He got the loudest. Yep. So next time you have to clap at a concert or something, you are carrying on a tradition from thousands of years. Yes.
Well, there you go.
Yeah. V sign, we know Churchill.
Churchill.
But if you turn it around, so palm forward, victory or peace. That 60s took it to peace. Victory in the 40s for Churchill. Turn it around in Churchill's time.
Up yours,
hoser. Yeah. Hoser.
God, the 80s called that like their term back.
Shut up. I lived in the 80s. I got terms from all of them. 70s, 80s. I can use 60s. I can even use 30s terms. Right. Yeah, well, see?
So there you go. Hand gestures.
So
what have we learned today?
Sign of the horns, not metal bands. Okay has been absconded by the racists.
Really?
Yes.
Oh, that's right. That's
right. That, like
we covered that on one of our.
Did we talk about that? Yeah, that was one of the gaffes that you should avoid. I actually found the 5 faux pas hand gestures at a military school site where they're telling these military trainees.
They probably don't tell them anymore. Now it's probably just, look, if somebody gets offended with you, just shoot them.
Don't do the okay sign. Don't do number 1. Don't put up a single finger. Holding up an index finger is a gesture that can be misinterpreted in cultures. Western countries, I'm number 1. I got first place. Yay. Greece, Russia, Middle East, doing that is an insult or a threat. In these cultures, it's the equivalent of the middle finger as well. So basically, if you go to another country or don't make hand gestures. Don't do any hand gestures. Don't gesticulate. Sit on your hands.
No, I can't do that. I can't talk if I can't move my hands. But
no, I can't either. I have to move.
But I'm not going to make any kind of gestures.
Well, I'm going to try not to do the silly picture hand gestures.
Yeah.
Because you're communicating something, right? The point of all hand
fascist
gestures.
Salutes are right out.
Well, yes, that military salute, which has become.
No, I was talking about the fascist salute.
Okay.
You know, the Roman fascist salute that was popularized in Germany, I believe.
They liked hand
Hey, they
gestures.
did announce that they're going to build the largest military in Europe.
The largest military in Europe.
Germany made that announcement.
Oh, wow.
That's worked out so well in the past.
The more things change, the more they stay the same, right?
Well, you know.
Coming back to that. Trust somebody. That would be my advice. Find somebody that you can trust, because if you can't trust the government, and maybe your neighbors are trustworthy. Maybe you live
family.
next to them, family, people who are
close friends.
So we are going back to an agrarian society, aren't we?
Well, actually, it's a society that's it actually has a name. It's called feudalist attraction capitalist. Well,
I saw something the other day talking about how capitalism is going to have to change, that we have reached the limit of it. Already has. It's been evolving and altering, but we are at a critical tipping point for a capitalistic system.
The systems that work in the world, when you actually get right down to it, democratic socialist societies generally do pretty well.
But that's built on mutual trust and respect.
Actually, it's built on sustainability.
Yes. What can you keep up with?
Yes.
Maintain shit.
And it's not about consumption.
It is about consumption, though, in America.
In America, we have to have consumption. So Scandinavian countries usually are the most successful and the happiest countries in the world. And they do exactly the opposite of what we do. Mm-hmm. We have feudal extraction capitalism. It's an economic system that is built where wealth and resources are concentrated in the hands of a few people. Mm-hmm. And it is exactly the same as medieval feudalism in a modern age. Oligarchs, very powerful oligarchs, control all of the key industries, the financial institutions, the journalistic outlets, and the political mechanisms. And they extract the wealth from the broad population without equitable redistribution for labor's work, while spreading a culture of hatred, fear, and separation that prevents people from coming together to realize how badly they're being fucked.
We've said this for so long. Keeping us divided is core to their plan.
And what happens is, as we see in New York, the longer they do this, the more apathetic the public becomes.
Yes, because we see no hope.
And so, exactly, it becomes
because there's no way to get out of it. Oh, look, they're fucking us again.
And we have to remember that the people who were building this better society in America, that we keep saying we want to go back to, they did not do that. The concentration of power, the working class this nation was built on was built by the people.
Yes.
And the system that they were building actually dealt with a lot of these things. For instance, housing was often financed by the government, and in many ways.
Oh, dear God, get out there and work for it.
Well, they did work. That's the point.
I know, they were working.
That's the point. But what we did is we got rid of civics education.
Yes.
We got rid of anything that would remotely educate people on how the government's supposed to work for them, and then created a society that is built on distrust of your fellow man because you've never met them. And chances are, especially if they look different than you, you don't trust them.
They're spreading disease.
And so the rich are getting richer, and this is true, by leveraging their wealth to keep their dominance. And meanwhile, we're all down here having our wealth extracted from us
at a higher and higher rate.
Correct. And it's happening faster and faster and faster. This happened in the Gilded Age, and it's happened in other times in history, and it's happening again in the 1960s. There's a guy named Paul Weyrich, and I don't care if anybody can look him up, but in the 60s, he basically said that White people are more deserving of wealth and dominion of others, thus began this deliberate journey of destroying social and economic cohesion. That's how you get power. He realized that what you have to do is get rid of social and economic cohesion, split that apart, and you build think tanks that constantly churn out propaganda that the government is the enemy of the people. Mm-hmm. It started with Reagan, really, the modern version of this. Look what they did. As soon as Reagan became president, they started taxing Social Security.
Yeah.
Why? That's extracting wealth from
taking wealth
poor
from
people,
the people
basically.
that can least afford to give it back.
Today, they're getting rid of all green energy, right? Trump is getting rid of all the green.
Well, and that was one of the things I agreed. Musk had said recently that he's giving subsidies to past industries,
the past,
and
not the
not
future.
Giving anything to
and
the future.
So we get rid of all the green energy and the money that helps fund a lot of the energy that's being produced right now in the United States and go back to oil and coal.
Yeah, why?
That's only going to get more expensive. Renewables, by their very nature, once you've established a baseline,
as you go,
your technology should.
Guess what?
And we're cutting off science.
It makes sense. It's logical. Why would you go back in time?
The current policies in place right now prevent 94% of STEM graduates in other countries from being able to immigrate to the United States. And many of them don't want to now.
No, don't bring that intelligence over here. You might try to change things.
Correct.
You might take power away from
real
those
problem.
in charge. Yeah, that's a real problem.
And so
we have to be renewable.
And why are we doing it? Because we have people in power
who are afraid to lose that.
And who are also, you can't say it enough, they believe they're Christian nationalists who believe that the United States is here for people like them.
Yes, that God has.
Yes.
We are not even going to go into that tonight.
No, it's too much.
It's too much.
And but that's what's going on. And so this is a new form of feudalism.
Yes. Okay.
We've done it. We've gone back, and that's what's going on right now. Okay, there you go. I'm sorry. All right, enough of that. Let's wrap it up. That's what I think we should do.
We will. So really, when you're in a good mood, you see the world through this naive rose-colored glass bottle
of trust.
You interpret situations more charitably, right? You give people the benefit of the doubt. And on the other side of that, when we trust others, we're more likely to engage socially. We build relationships. We support each other and create more conditions that promote happiness. Now we are in a declining institutional trust, socialization, polarized. Yes. Everybody's on their own side, and you can't see anything in the middle. So there's both hope and a warning, right? As trust erodes, our collective well-being is eroding as a country. And understanding that trust and happiness
and in the end
reinforce each other.
For me, trust is still the thing I still trust more than you, more than anything.
Okay.
Is that people are generally good if left to their own devices.
Are you quoting Clerks?
No.
In that scene, I always come back to that because
I believe it.
People are good. That's what I believe.
I believe that people are generally honest.
So we need to invest in trustworthy communities. That pays dividends for mental health. That makes everybody happier. We don't have as many shootings, and the future has support. And there's reason. You're wondering why birth rates. Cost of living. Why do you want to bring a kid into this world? You just go down the list of things.
It all comes back to trust.
It does come back to trust. It's a big deal, and we're in a danger zone.
We are, because the Constitution can't function if people don't trust the institution.
And if the institution isn't doing their job,
then people, unfortunately, in the past, at least judging from the past history, you tend to go towards authoritarianism if you lose complete trust in your institutions.
So loss of trust leads to fear.
Loss of trust leads to fear and leads to dictatorship.
Because then you worry, and we're going to put somebody in charge.
I would suggest that we've already had it. It doesn't matter who's the president.
No, I don't honestly think in the end.
Because I think it's a group of people that actually make the big
curtain.
Decisions. Yes.
Yeah, and they've been moving us towards this. We've been saying that.
So I trust you.
I trust you, dear. So
and
we're
I
have
trust
to take,
the listeners, and you can trust that the Long in the Boot podcast, at least, will not lie to you for any gain.
Oh, no.
Ever.
We're not trying to get anything out of it. We're having our date time.
That's right.
And we're talking about things that aren't,
And
that aren't
and
rough.
talk about thing that burns my gears.
Oh, that grinds your gears.
Grinds my gears.
You got to get the phrasing correct.
Yeah, grinds my gears. Oh, well.
All right.
Anyway, all right. Well,
so we're going to continue on with our summer. 4th of July is this weekend.
4th of July.
It is Friday. And as much as I love Halloween, somebody is trying to do a Halloween in
screw those people. It needs to be cool.
Christmas in July and Halloween in June.
No.
So he's going to call it Juneween. And guess what? Walmart's getting on board.
Screw them too. Buy more crap.
Yes, buy Halloween crap in June and October.
By the way, our trade deficit is still going up.
Yeah, but all that tariff money's coming in.
Yeah, honestly, that's our money. It's on us. We pay tariffs.
I know.
I will say it again. Tariffs are not paid by the producers. They're paid by the consumers.
And all we are is consumers in this country. I'm ready to go work in my yard again.
I'll have to go take a look at this list and decide which one of these things I'm going to ignore.
No. Some of them are there for you. Some of them are there for you. And we have like 4 weeks left.
I know.
Yeah, it's not long.
Well, tomorrow, this is Sunday, by the way.
Is another day.
Tomorrow I get to go to the dentist and have an extraction of money from my wallet.
Yes. Constantly taking stuff out of us. It's part of the maintenance. And if maintenance had been a little better and more money,
we may not have lost our trust in our institutions
or our teeth.
All right. Well, there we go.
There's real life, folks.
And you got to say the magic words.
Oh, I do have to say the magic words because in the end, I still do believe people are good. And your joy is portable. Bring it with you and trust somebody today.
Bye-bye, y'all.
Bye.